fighting vehicle the world has ever seen. It's a chieftain tank. The man behind the camera actually drives one of these, and he's one of the best drivers that this regiment has ever had.
It's all right.
Now, what is stood right behind me is the actual beast itself. 56 tons of metal and computerised fighting systems, which is within the turret there. Right, what you want to do now is just walk forward and I'll show you where the driver and all the other crew goes and sits. Just in here then, we have the driver's cab, which is commonly known as the fridge. Because all this metal down here collects all the cold air, and inside there it absolutely freezes. So the poor little driver has got to be very, very well lagged. Alright? So that's inside there. We'll have a look in there later on. As you can appreciate, you cannot see inside there because there's no light. What we're going to do now is climb up on top of the turret, and I'll show you inside where all the crew goes.
Come.
Right then, I've already said that there are 4 crew members. Well, if I didn't, I have now. And I'm now going to show you exactly where they go. We are now stood on top of the turret. This is what's termed as a fighting compartment. Now inside here, if you get right down inside, which we'll have a look in just a moment, the gunner sits. And he sits approximately directly under my pen. Okay, so that's the second crew member. That's 2 you see now, the driver and the gunner. And we'll go more in depth as we get inside. The commander, who is in charge of the vehicle, its direction, its speed and the map reading and the positioning of the tank in battle positions, is situated approximately here. Now then, what we would have is sights fitted inside the turret, or the cupola as this is termed. The larger component is a turret, right, but this is a cupola. Now we would have sights in there, but this is actually going back to base workshops, so we can get challenging. Right, the most important person on this tank, apart from the commander, is the guy that feeds us. And he also operates the radio, and he also loads the gun. He also takes messages, so this is a very, very demanding job. And the operator is situated inside there, and that's his little den in there. When we get down inside, you will see just how complicated it is to move around there. So if you are overweight or not very agile, you will end up with cuts and bruises all over you. As you see when you get inside, it is a small profile tank, so there's not much room. This is a good tactical move. However, the Challenger, the next tank we get in, has got more room inside. We'll cut now and we'll go inside of the tank. Here we are now sat inside of the tank. A lot of people think it does get claustrophobic, but over a number of years you do get used to this. Especially when you're travelling cross country, you don't think of the claustrophobic feeling inside. You're more interested in where you're going and what you're doing and whereabouts the enemy is. Right, so going to the seating positions now. I mentioned the gunner earlier on, the second crew member, and he sits down in that area there. And he looks through this laser sight here. That is actually a weapon. Just cut. Words.
Take 2. The gunner about the laser sight.
Right, yes, as I was mentioning, that there is the laser sight for the gunner to aim onto the enemy tanks, and it fires a laser beam. When the laser beam comes back, it gives us the lased range, which is approximate to within 1 inch. Alright, so that is his laser sight, and it is worked by a key down there. So in this mode now, it is quite safe. So that's the gunner. As you can see, very intricate position down there. Me being the commander, I govern everybody. I have got to see where the turret is going, what the gunner's doing, and what the driver's doing. Also reading my map, you are usually closed down, the cupola closed down, and you're in your NBC suit and sometimes a gas mask. So, excuse me, you can consider how difficult to map read and organise all the crew, and especially when the weapon, which is on the left hand side, is firing. What I'll do now is we'll change positions, and I'll just mention one thing before we go. Inside the cupola, all these sights give me all-round observation. So it's like the old chameleon with eyes on the sides of its head, It can look frontwards and backwards, and all I've got to do, it's a very, very good design. We'll now swap positions, and I will go to the loader's side and direct you from there. Put that red light on, please. Right, here I am now in the loader's side. I told you before it was compact. As you can see around here, you will think there is lots of room. But this is the rear end of the big 120mm gun. Now when this recoils, it comes back all the way just short of there. Alright, so there's not a lot of room now, so I've got to pick all my HESH rounds up, right, and all the projectiles and load them into there. However, when that recoils, I am quite safe because there is a safety shield there to save me from going in behind there. Right, so it is quite safe. Just like that. Now, as I was saying before, that is one of the loader's jobs, is to load the weapon. What it simply does is gets a projectile, puts it in the breech and puts it up there. He then gets a bag of explosives, which is about so big, and he then rams that up behind it. He then rams in there a small charge, which sets or ignites the whole system off. He then closes a breech, which is thus, which would have been down there, and it now comes into the closed position to make a seal so none of the explosion comes back and rips the turret out. And then it commences to fire. The other jobs that the loader has got, in that position there, we would have two radios. The operator is also wearing his earphones, his NBC suit, sometimes his gas masks to be on the safe side. So as you can appreciate, it is very, very compact. And he's got a lot of work to do as the old loader, but he gets paid about £30–40 a day, so we don't mind that. Up on the roof, just to show you, when you're going cross country, to save any injuries, that is a plastic covering, and it is quite safe. It does save a lot of injuries. But if you can imagine going cross country and that weapon there is going up and down and you're holding on there, it's alright for the people in there and the driver down there, they've got seats, right, and the turret's going round, I've got to sit like that. However, it is a very enjoyable job and we all love doing it. That's about all I've got to tell you about on the inside, apart from the most important thing. Approximately there goes the boiling vessel, the most important part of the tank, because when you stop after the day's battle, inside there is your evening meal, and you can also have a brew when you stop. If it's warm enough, you can have a beer or a can of lemonade, but that boiling vessel is the main meat of the tank as far as I'm concerned. Now we should have a heater, but we haven't got one. Alright, so we'll now go and finish off on the outside of the tank.
Go. Go.
Okay, you've already seen the rear part of the weapon. As you can see, it protrudes all the way outside from the front of the turret. It is 120mm and it fires its new round at 1 mile per second on a good day. Alright, and with an accurate hit, it will take out any tank in the world. Okay, just take note of the length. What you do now is just walk forward and take note of the gearbox. All this is the engine compartment. We have two engines, a generator there and the main engine here. And in the back here we have a massive gearbox. If you walk forward, you may just be able to
That's
see.
alright then.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're all different sorts of pipes, very prone to leaks. And that is a very quick introduction to Chieftain. I thank you.
Tons of the beast.
There's not many of these little tinkers left, Jojo, you know.
I know what you're saying there. Yes, quite right. Would you like to just...
We like to see the end of them, don't we, you know? Gotta wave it off in good style.
Of course, of course.
In fact, I think what we really need is some bottles of beer, and let's get pissed and just smash a few on it and say for almost a sailing her and all that sort of shite.
Quite agreed, quite agreed.
Should we put it back in the agate now, Judge?
Yes, that would be fine.
Well done, man.
So what are you going to say about the chieftain tank then? Trooper Robert. Lance Corporal Robert Sharp.
Wank.